What's up, guys? So I get asked a lot about good beginner reptiles or good animals to keep if you're an inexperienced reptile keeper. And so in this video I thought I would just go over some animals that I think are good beginner reptiles, and I thought I would also go over some things to consider when purchasing a reptile for the first time. So when talking about beginner reptiles, I often point people to these guys right here, leopard geckos. And these guys are great beginner reptiles because there's not much to their care at all. They're relatively inexpensive. As you can see, they're pretty docile. They don't really bite for the most part. Consider that each individual animal is different, and their temperaments will differ. So I mean, don't just buy any leopard gecko thinking that they're going to be nice 100% of the time, because that's not always true. But for the most part, leopard geckos are pretty docile. They also do not require very much space, which is great, especially for families or anybody that lives in a relatively small area. They don't get very big. This is an adult female right here, so that's another thing. And they will feed readily on mealworms, superworms, crickets, dubia roaches, pretty much any readily available feeder insect. And yeah, I think leopard geckos are a great choice for the inexperienced reptile keeper. Another animal that I would consider a good beginning reptile would be a crested gecko. Crested geckos are arboreal and require a tall environment and a more humid environment. In addition, they require a powdered food that you mix with water. They're also pretty docile most of the time. They do jump, and they are a little bit more skittish, I'd say, than leopard geckos, but they are relatively easy to care for. No additional lighting for either of these guys is required for leopard geckos or crested geckos. Two really good beginner reptiles. Another one I would consider would be a white tree frog. White tree frogs are some of the most hardy animals I've ever seen. They will tolerate a wide range of environments, and they will also eat pretty much anything that fits in their mouth, which is always fun to watch. And white tree frogs are also, I would say, the easiest to handle out of any amphibian, but I still would not recommend too much handling, as that can damage their skin. Another animal to consider for a beginner reptile would be a ball python. Ball pythons are one of the smaller pythons out there, and they are also one of the more docile and easy to handle, and they also do not require very much in terms of their environment. They're a terrestrial species, so you'll want a longer tank rather than higher, and they will also eat mice, rats every couple weeks. When getting a reptile for the first time, you do have to consider their temperament, their environment, so the type of housing that you need, and you have to consider the food that they'll need, as well as any supplementation or lighting or supplemental heat. So you really have to do your research before getting a reptile for the first time. That is my video on good beginner reptiles and choosing your first reptile. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.